Stars, what business could Prince William possibly have at MI6 if it's not about international travel or his family's personal security, whatever's been going on with Kate Middleton, Thomas Kingston, etc. One person suggested that honestly, William wants H&M gone before his reign begins. His ego just can't take how popular they are. And indeed, if what we saw in New York City with H&M being chased as they tried to leave an award ceremony for Meghan, MI6 would have to coordinate with the United States to A, spy on the Sussexes, and it's not clear that the US would want another episode of what happened in NYC because Meghan is an American. I think we have to give credit to Harry for not only meeting her, falling in love, as it were, but being strategic enough to see that by marrying a US citizen, right, and having that whole underground railroad, Hollywood, black people escape route, he was able to get out and prosper and not have to be, forced and squeezed and manipulated like you see the rest of those poor forsaken royals and the junior royals that, are living on their parents' estates and have no, just no way out, no business that's thriving, nothing more than like rinky-dink attempts, a book here, a shabby deal for royal access there. But the Sussexes have really done it, and they're doing philanthropy, and it's all good. But again, we know that the US and the UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand are all part of Five Eyes, and they share information with each other about external threats, right? But Harry isn't an external threat to the UK or any of those countries, only to William's ego. Several biographies of Charles, as well as of Diana, published in the 90s, mentioned the royal family's long, close relationship with MI5/MI6, the agencies protecting the royal family from potential threats, and exactly the agencies outside of royal security officers that are supposed to be protecting Prince Harry and his family as well, until the word was put in not to do that no more. It functions just the same way it is authorized to protect politicians by whatever means necessary. Diana was betrayed by the Windsors and spoke out about them to the media, thus breaking centuries of sacred secrecy. She was perceived to be a traitor. But how are they a traitor when they don't? A traitor to a family that does not, in fact, run the government. And they feared that she was going to continue doing this for the rest of her life and the rest of the Windsors' lives. Like, there isn't academia that criticizes these people. There's not legitimate journals or journalists that do the same. It was down to her, right, to be the one voice in the wilderness with enough influence to get the job done. And we see how it turned out for them, right? What lucky timing for the Windsors that their traitor soon disappeared, after which time books came out spewing out again about the royal family and specifically Prince Philip's long relationship with MI5, MI6 as head of the royal family. And when we dig deep into Prince Philip's family origins, what is it that we find? The centuries of sacred secrecy were restored until Harry continued where his mother left off. But let's not forget that King Charles, as a prince, wrote his own biography that had some critical bits about his family, right? But they're saying that Harry's book broke down the wall of secrecy after the Windsors betrayed him and his wife Meghan too. So, yeah, whatever it is you're thinking about the royals and spy agencies, you're right on the money. In addition, William seems to be working a bit more lately. Why is that? After briefing his fierce defense of his diary and his refusal to be forced to take on more so called duties, while simultaneously briefing about being unable to work due to being Kate's Rock, Father of the Year, Dream Son in Law, Top Son, future of the monarchy, and having the weight of the world on his shoulders. It's interesting to see that he appears to have grown tired of having to maintain the image of the dutiful husband and father, staying at home all day. Maybe. Doubt it, right? That was what we were told. He was staying home all day to tend to his sick wife and young children, and is now filling his precious diary with as many football games and work outings the farthest away from home that he can get them. Cornwall, Wales, France, Germany, etc. Right? As much as he can do far away engagements and get back to his global statesman cosplay. That's what he want to do. Right? But again, what right now is the inspiration? What forced William and the rest of the royal family and Kate to change course from the last 6 months of light schedule for William, no appearances for Kate, or at least some appearances that were claimed that didn't seem quite real, right? What happened? What could it have been? Was it a press story? Was it Harry and Meghan in Nigeria? Is William trying to go to Africa? I don't think so, right? There's a theory that just like that college student was tracking old Elon Musk and seeing where he was flying all over the place, right? FAA and whatever the international version of the FAA is. In fact, Elon Musk tried to get the courts to stop that kid from following where his private jet, etc., was taking him. Similarly, folks believe that Kate and William have not truly been together as a couple for a few years now. It doesn't necessarily mean they will ever publicly separate and get a divorce. Kate might prefer to stay married and live separate lives privately so she can retain access to those really cool estates and all those sweet funds, right? From the UK taxpayer as well as from the royal purse. It probably is up to William and whether or not he officially wants to cut the cord, whether he has a ready replacement or he's just ready to settle down and put the wife and kids wherever they belong and get on with preparing for his reign. Is he going to put the time and energy into cultivating Camilla? Has he already done so? Or is there somebody new? I heard there's somebody new. A blonde, allegedly. Kate has been dealing with preventative cancer treatment. That's what I'll say. I won't say cancer. I'll say preventative cancer treatment. And basically told William and Kensington Palace, F you can't make me work. I'm taking as much time as I need to recover. And that's all you get. You'll just have to suck it up. The only thing that brought her back, and hear this, was the analysis of their helicopter flights. William and Kensington Palace were able to convince her that the scrutiny was so intense on their movements that it was becoming a security issue for the kids. Why? I mean, there's only a number of places that they can be. What is analyzing how you travel by helicopter? What does that mean in terms of, school, Balmoral, Kensington, Anmere Hall, Adelaide Cottage? Why is that a security issue for the kids? Is it a real security issue for the kids or is it a reputation issue for William and where he might be spending his one of them nights. One of them nights you feel like getting down, right? Hitting the town in London when he's staying at Kensington Palace without wifey, right? A little something like that. William is a paranoid person. Think of how he just gets spooked by Harry and Meghan to this day. You're the heir to the throne. You've got all the marbles. What you worried about somebody who, lives in America and does nonprofit work for? What's up? You're not doing enough productive work on your own to feel proud of that. You got to be worried about laying up at night, eyes like saucers, wondering where Harry and Meghan are going to go next, right? Planning all those crazy stories in the toxic British media. Oh my gosh. Now they're saying that King Charles can confiscate Meghan's passport if she ever flies through London again. Every day there's fiction, but we also see those toxic British media companies dropping like flies. I think July 7th is when GB News will be kaput, no more, right? So if William is being paranoid and worries about the flight info being released and discussed, right? It would make him extremely angry, triggered, fearful. And now maybe this is what caused him to call Red Alert and bringing Kate out of resting, recovering, hiding onto perhaps the balcony for Trooping of the Color, maybe with the kids, maybe without. Right? It doesn't mean they're not divorcing. It doesn't mean that she's not getting preventative cancer treatment. But, there is evidence of flights here, flights there, flights to Norfolk. Often. Right? Not to Kensington, not to Adelaide, not to no hospital or London clinic. Right? But if you've followed William since his college days, right? Even up to the point of the party at Highgrove with Thomas Kingston, 2 nights before Thomas Kingston was unalive, the party don't stop where William's concerned, right? He out with Diddy, he out with this one, he out with that one, garden party, he's at the wedding solo. We know what goes on at weddings, but now there are indisputable facts about his travels that he don't want people to know, right? He wants you to believe he was, slicing grapefruit in half and hand feeding it to Kate and, making sugar cookies with the children or clotted cream and bubble and squeak and all those English foods, beans right out of the tin and on toast and etc. Mutton. No. There is a school of thought that says it's not the helicopter flights, that they are splitting up, and she's been refusing to attend events and refusing to, appear anywhere normally and in public as she typically does as a bargaining chip to apply pressure to get the right post-divorce residence, the right dollar amount settlement, the right access to the children, whatever those deal terms of a divorce might be, that this has been her applying pressure once he dropped the bomb on her, baby, maybe right after Christmas. The royal family desperately needs Kate out there, so they made some sort of concession to her. Was it money? Was it the residence? Then she agreed to appear on the balcony. Maybe she does have cancer. Maybe she did have cancer. Maybe she is getting preventative cancer treatment. Would someone lie about that health diagnosis or issue for such a long time? Because if it turns out just that this is a divorce and these are like divorce negotiating tactics and a story so people would stop asking questions and then feel sorry for and be intrigued and search her and William and increase their popularity by that metric, I think the backlash would be terrible. Personally, I feel like if this just turns out to be not a health crisis, but just simply a divorce tactic, threats on both sides, Middletons versus Windsors, right? Then I think I'm about to be through. That will have burned through all of my sympathy and concern. If her mortality has been at stake, then, being Princess of Wales and getting all those perks would mean nothing. But it could just be that she's tired of being cheated on, right? Tired of, old cranky pants pouting and wagging the finger and being a meanie. And, people are saying they both stepped out on the marriage. But again, this helicopter information, which was technically public information, but I think the surprise to William and his camp and his pesky interns, Colin, Ewan, Ian, was that people were paying attention to it, right? Analyzing it, disseminating it, and prying into the personal life and private daily movements, right? That's the new development. We all know, what a Karen William turned into when he saw a paparazzo on private property while he was out with the kids, right? He's probably even more furious about people tracking his flights, even though it is obviously public information. He loves flying helicopters more than anything. Now, I'd be curious to know if he's doing the flying or if he's being flown. People have raised questions about whether he is as competent a pilot as his brother, right? And if he's mad about people tracking his movements real time, thereby endangering his ability to, hook up, go over here, go over there, and then reappear with a tan again, which for someone of his complexion is difficult to maintain, right? Now he's going to spin it and be like, oh, I was working, guys. Here I am digging a hole where there's no hole. Oh, here I am chopping carrots and boiling water with no fire, right? Those little public stop-bys are supposed to punctuate these long periods of sunny vacation on some island with God knows who, right? But now it's being spun into, oh no, criminals and stalkers are following my kids, when probably the kids are not with him on those helicopter trips, here, there, back and forth, Anmer Hall, a stone's throw, a frisbee throw from Rose Hanbury's home, right? And her 3 or 4 children, right? When her husband's away at France with his special friend, right? William most likely marched into the MI6 offices and was like, see, this is the danger of making this information public. Now everyone knows where I and my children are at all times, and they're tracking us in real time on a site we have no influence over. Meaning it's not information that he can hide, right? Is he going to try to make that information private? Probably. But the damage has been done. We've been looking. We've been searching. We've been seeing, right? It's not a big island, but this isn't your dad's cheating 30 years ago with Kanga and Camilla and 3 or 4 other heifers. No. We know the names. We've seen the photos. You can deny, and send your solicitors after Stephen Colbert. But the proof is in the pudding. And we still are wondering, why has Kate been hiding? What happened to Thomas Kingston? And what is going on when Mr. Williams strolled into MI6 and demanded whatever it is he demanded, right? Like, for what? But the helicopter flight records from January seem odd. It's publicly available information that the royal family has 2 helicopters, and it seems that William and his family mainly use GXXEB, right? There have been some celebrity jet tracking scandals. Elon Musk was one of them. But, I think one of the most glaring things about it is that Kensington Palace and William tried to attack Meghan and Harry for flying private jets. Well, who could be more guilty of CO2 emissions and carbon footprint than somebody hopscotching all over the UK in a helicopter for some romance time? Perhaps not with his wife, right? Earthshot prize who? Save the environment, save the turtles where? Let's talk about the timeline. Christmas 2023. Kate was last seen at Sandringham. On December 27th and 29th, helicopter trips to and from Sandringham to Camilla's place outside Chippenham. On New Year's Day, a helicopter went from home base to arrive at Anmer Hall at 11:37. At 12:05, the helicopter left Anmer Hall to arrive at Kensington Palace at 12:42. Then the helicopter left Kensington Palace at 12:53. More likely than not, the engines were left on, and then the helicopter returned to home base. This was also the last day of the school holidays, right? So was that helicopter used to transport William, the children? Probably not Kate. Or was it just William avoiding the roads and being sighted by getting up, way up high? A little quick trip to Anmer Hall. We know who lives there, right? Then zipping back to Kensington Palace, the office, or where William may have access still to an apartment. That's where he and Kate lived earlier in their marriage, right? So is he living in London and living in Anmer, as some folks believe? Then on January 2nd, the helicopter left home base, went to Kensington Palace, where it arrived at, what is 1909? That's 7:09, right? It left Kensington Palace at 8 o'clock to go to Anmer Hall, where it arrived, get this, 48 minutes later. Then it left at 21:07, right, to return to home base. So then it left that area at 9:07 to go to home base. It was also the first day of school term for the kids. So is that let me just stop by and clap them cheeks and then dip back to get the kids back into school? Where are the kids going to school? Is it dropping off the kids? Was this just a quick trip to bring the kids back to Lambrook School, right? Put them into the hands of the nannies and then make a trip over to the neighbors to clap them cheeks and then zip back to home base near Kensington? ? Then on the 8th of January, the helicopter left home base again to go to Anmer Hall, arrived at 10:42, then left Anmer Hall at 11:12 to arrive at Kensington Palace 11:43. So that's a very time efficient trip, much more time efficient. And I'm sure Master William was hoping less noticeable than, again, motorcade, Range Rover driving on the pedestrian roads where there might be paparazzi and people who could catch a quick picture. So if everything was well, Kate, William, and the 3 kids would likely be taking a helicopter flight back to Windsor on January 1st, 2024 to be ready for the start of the school term the next day, right? Windsor. Is that where the kids are in school? Or are they in school in the Anmer Hall area? Unclear. However, instead of Windsor, the helicopter landed at Kensington Palace. The flight on this day is also a bit unusual in that the flight only counted as one leg. I think this means they didn't turn the propellers off. It also only took 11 minutes for the helicopter to land, get the passengers and luggage off, and take flight again. This could indicate that maybe only one person arrived back at Kensington Palace and maybe not the whole family. If it was just William, then this would also mean that the kids were missing school. Could they have caught a car back? It's possible. But if you look at past helicopter usage, I doubt it. They really do love to travel by helicopter. That's really wild. I would not assume that helicopters are safer than driving. They could be faster, absolutely, but these are not heads of state. These are people with a purely ceremonial role. Am I wrong? I think they're the heads. I think that the king is the head of the Church of England, right? Church of COE, is that what it's called? Church of England? Maybe. But it's not the same as being the prime minister or the president, right? There is also another helicopter if they did need multiple. William also reportedly does not seem concerned about having both heirs in the same helicopter at once, right? There used to be a protocol where, the king and the heir would have to travel separately, and William has been breaching that of late. On the evening of January 2nd, 2024, assuming the person who caught the flight the previous day returns to Anmer Hall until January 8th, 2024. If it was the whole family, some of the family, or just William, it still seems slightly odd that they leave the day after they came back, that it was from Kensington Palace rather than Windsor. So this is the part where, this is where the tea is, right? Windsor, that's Adelaide Cottage. Anmer Hall, that's Norfolk, right? But I'll read it again. On the evening of January 2nd, 2024, I'm assuming that the person who caught the flight the previous day returns to Anmer until the 8th of January. If it was the whole family, some of the family, or just William, it seems slightly odd that they leave the day after they came back, that it was from Kensington Palace rather than Windsor, and the kids would have just started back at school. However, there are also rumors that Adelaide House in Windsor is where Kate lives and William lives elsewhere. So just William leaving could also potentially explain arriving and leaving from Kensington Palace along with Kate and the kids not coming back from Norfolk. This is all speculation, of course, but is this the information that William went to MI6 to talk about hiding and claim that it was dangerous to him and his family? Is it actually dangerous to his family for people to know that he is flying on helicopters from Kensington Palace to Anmer Hall when Kate and the kids may be at Adelaide Cottage on the Windsor estate? Do you see what I'm saying? 3 different locations, the suggestion being that William lives at Kensington and also visits his friend down at Anmer Hall, while Kate and the kids have long lived on the Windsor estate in Adelaide Cottage, a small cottage that is only 4 bedrooms, right? If the larger question of divorce is looming, there's been this ongoing discussion of the grander estates, which one of them could be gifted to Kate in the event of a divorce, right? We hear talk that Charles wants to leave Royal Lodge, where Andrew lives, to Camilla in case of his early demise, right? Andrew's like, nah, this is for my children and my grandchildren, right? But just like Charles snatched back Frogmore Cottage, again, humble cottage, tiny, small, took it back. Now Charles is trying to grab up Royal Lodge so he can give it to his side piece, Camilla. Get me? But all the while, is Prince William's concern for security of his children, or is it to hide where he be going and how he be moving and sneaking around and telling the public he's over there, cleaning bedpans and spoon feeding chicken soup, when that ain't what he doing with his time? We see the tan, William. Where'd you get the tan? You going back to Mystique without Kate? What's up? There were also other flights on the 15th and 19th to and from Scotland. However, these were probably to do with Camilla and Charles visiting Balmoral and Aberdeen. The flights to and from Anmer Hall were likely the Wales family, and this is William's residence. So nothing really conclusive based on their helicopter flights, but potentially some indication that things aren't quite the way they're being portrayed to us in the toxic British media. They also have private planes available, but those are also used by government officials. So it seems a little bit more complicated to figure out the passenger manifests for those air vessels. William really seems to like helicopters. Does he fly them himself? A la JFK Jr., more likely than not, no. But somehow, the fact that there is scrutiny of the flights, the dates, the times, and the passenger manifests, he is shook, and he going to go see his old pals in the spy agencies to get it to quit, right? He wants to be able to do his dirt in secret. But I fear the cat may be out of the bag. Maybe we're going to see Kate and the children tomorrow, but it's not possible to snatch back the last 6 months of wondering and waiting and confusion. And, I think people who are used to seeing regular, normal appearances from Kate Middleton, we remain shook. You can't take it back. The deed has been done. And these helicopter flights do not give us any sense of comfort about the words matching the deeds when it comes to heir to the throne, Prince William, and how he's behaving in his marriage and toward his possibly sickly wife, Kate Middleton. Stars, let me know what you think.